Hey fellow entity researchers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Anomaly Eldritch Guards, Episode 81, Secure Containment. So as you can see at the top of my head, we are picking up, continuing to warden for hire these two individuals and attempting to keep the 5 guards safe. And there's a lot of cleanup to do. So there's some breached walls here. There are some broken walls that didn't actually get queued for replacements because the mech capsules were in the way. There is the fire mazes both sides that need to be reset. A whole lot of holes, and a whole lot of like mech clustery things that need to get destroyed and carried out of the way. They're in the way, it's a problem, so we need to get rid of them. You think the mech cluster was lower? Let me take a look at that. If I go to the quest that is active, it usually links to the cluster, but let's see if it's mechanoid. No, I haven't had any other mechanoid clusters land recently, I don't think. So I believe we're due for another one, which is good to know. So yeah, we have a considerable amount of cleanup to do. Things got a little messy. Devourers got very hungry. And we still have the outstanding desire to set up individual containment cells for the Devourers because the Devourers are particularly dangerous. So here, as you can see, we have bioferrite flooring everywhere. And the idea here was to replace all of these walls with uranium, because we really need plasteel. Like, I can't waste plasteel, which would be a slightly stronger material for this project. So instead, we're going to use uranium, and then we're going to set them up with each individual one having a bioferrite harvester and a shard inhibitor shared amongst the 4 cells. So the most dangerous things will be kept in a secure location so that they cannot harm us anymore. Because, I don't know about you, but I don't really like dying to entities. Taking a look at our stone pile. Yes, shaving mountains. But shaving mountains not because we're trying to reveal the overhead mountain, but simply because we need more stone for some of the construction that we have going on. So if we take a look down here, I have 4 sandstone left. A lot of our external walls are made of sandstone. So what we're going to need to do is to get a little bit more sandstone so that we can actually make the repairs needed to be made to our defenses. Because there was a lot of holes plugged into our base from that last attack. All of the attacks. There was a lot of attacks. Alright. We have tons of dread leather, and the idea is to turn this dread leather into corsets and to sell it to bulk goods traders, and then hopefully to be able to buy things that we need off bulk goods traders. That's the idea. The undignified throne room is simply a result of social fight blood, as if this is some sort of arena. I suppose, in a way, it's a political arena, but not one where we should be throwing fisticuffs. Jobo's trying to clean up after us and our giant mess. It's a big job. So there's still some critical holes here. 1, 2, 3 that let enemies into delicate spots of our base, which is a bit of a problem. But we'll get that cleaned up in due time. One thing I was considering is how to use the other nano chip that I have. I could set up another waste pack atomizer, or I could manufacture an implant. Probably the implant would be the repair speed implant. The repair probe, which increases the... Where is it? Increases the speed at which a mechanator can repair a mech. But I was going to ask you guys what to do. How to use the nano chip. There's other potential uses for it, but these are the two that I like most. Getting rid of some of the waste that we have backed up, or repairing faster. So, 2.5 minutes on the pole there. And my colonists are just hauling in all of the dead mechs out here and dead devourers, getting them shredded and butchered and ready. Okay, no more social conversions, guys. Seriously, Red's gonna pop her top, and there will be blood. She's already almost dead. I don't want more of that, please. We have some poor moods, let's call it. So between this sort of mountain shaving and digging out the remaining secure cells, we'll probably end up in a situation where we will have a decent amount of sandstone as a result to be able to repair all of our walls. I'm going to pause the chem fuel from organics. It takes a long time to process the twisted meat into chem fuel, and I think it's probably better used, that time that is, setting up the fire mazes and repairing all the walls. So the southern fire maze is almost all reset. Currently we're using the northern one, so I hope we reset the northern one soon. And then I can also, if I get impatient, specifically instruct my workers to repair the holes to the walls. But because we have like double or triple lined walls in most places, I don't think it's urgent for me to take control. Just let them do what they're doing. One thing I sort of realized is I'm not sure I need this like extra holding cell area. I might do away with this at some point, because we're not relying upon this entryway anymore for security or any other reasons. So I would say the longer term goal of this specific stream is to identify more of the entities, if not all of them, the 3 remaining ones, without spoiling them, and to prepare as well as we can with spare armor and clothing and food and medicine and everything that we think we're going to need in order to survive the aftermath of awakening the monolith. Which is a big laundry list of things, because the monolith is, it's quite dangerous. Looks like you guys are all for an atomizer. 75% of you. So let's stick another one in. And the advantage of that is then we don't really have to worry about calling in pits regularly in order to deal with the waste that we generate, because an additional atomizer should be able to take the excess that we generate. Unless we have a lot of our Daedalus or Workwings get destroyed regularly, which I'm aiming to have not happen, because it sucks when it does. I don't really need the ideology room at zoning anymore. Let's get rid of it. And are we even researching anything anomalous? We aren't. So let's not bother doing Void Monolith study. I'm going to make sure that we're not studying any of the entities, because there's no reason to. Yeah, okay. All those are canceled. Good. Well, we've carried in some of the mechs that got destroyed. The other thing that we're going to need to consider is our edible meat supply is not incredible. We've got probably about 1,000 meat, which for our population of 20, considering we also have 2 prisoners, goes kind of fast. So I suppose we can hunt caribou, and let's hunt Muffalo, Megasloth, and Ibex. Okay, the mechs are all charged up and idle and waiting for a new attack. The northern fire maze is still not reset, but that will happen in due time. Oh, the other thing is, yeah, we don't... Okay, before I do much more hunting here, we have a problem of, like, a bajillion dread leather that we have nowhere to put it. So I'm gonna force Skyra to, like, move some of that. Because otherwise, when we hunt, we're just gonna leave the corpses out there, or put the corpses in weird spots, more likely. Because this whole zone is, like, allowed. Oh, plants dying to cold? Yeah, that is unnecessary. Double Eyes, you're closest. Let's have you flick and flick. I have Atmo heaters that clearly need to be turned on in the winter. The blood in the kitchen is a problem, yeah. I am getting Guero to clean that up. Whoa there, buddy. Swanky done pissed off the caribou. Only 2 of them, that's not bad. Alright, Ink is now digging up the remaining needed spots around the holding cells. And for the holding cells to be proper holding cells, we are going to need a lot of plasteel and uranium to get this done. To be lined properly. Get a little close there, aren't you? Trying to keep the base clean is, like, a lot of work. Alright, the butchery is a little bit less disgusting. Lost Vagabonds. Oh, Lord. Okay. It's 10 refugees staying for 12 days, and it's a charitable thing to do. So, we're gonna do it. But, holy hell, is that gonna be a lot more food and work and everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's getting stupid. Very stupid. Alright, I guess, Warden for Hire and refugees. And individual set containment cells. How long do I have to accept this? 4 days? Okay. At least I'm given a little bit of time to deal with it. Because, I wouldn't be able to, like, take them on immediately. It's a lot of extra work. At least I started hunting. They do work. The trouble is, they are almost certainly not going to be of my ideology, so there's going to be some... combat preaching, let's call it, of the refugees and my own people trying to convert one another with considerable force. I can set them to clean the hall. Oh, I can, if they accept that kind of work. I mean, certainly not all refugees do. Sometimes they decide that they're too good for that. I'm actually surprised I didn't get any masterwork beds out of that. He's like level 16. Oh well. Level 15. Oh, you slipped. You've been slipping. Okay, we are getting the atomizer going. Good. Good, good, good. The northern fire maze is getting a little bit of hay down. The external temperature is no longer freezing. Plants aren't dying. That's also handy. Sparrow Locust armor is being rolled out because Guero and Red both don't have any. They took enough damage that they lost theirs. I don't have a huge supply of corsets just yet, but once I do, I'm also going to call on Balkus traders to trade for those corsets too. Put the beds in entity containment so they don't try to convert anyone. Well, with given how smart refugees tend to be, they might try to convert the entities and end up blaming me for when they get their heads bit off. I think that there's a non-zero chance that they would do that. Plus, we're supposed to be protecting the planet from entities, not feeding entities refugees. Slightly counterproductive. Just slightly. Cougar hunting Fred. Okay. Where is Fred? Really? Cougar's hunting you from here? Oh, the door wasn't in. That makes a little bit more sense. Fred, are you not defending yourself? He just decided, like, oh yeah, I'm good. It tried to bite me, but live and let live, right? It's a good attitude, I suppose. Just doesn't really work when it's continuing to try to eat you. So as far as uranium goes, I don't have a lot. So when we're going to be building these cells, I'm going to need to set up the deep drills for uranium, specifically. So let's do that now. I'm going to move this deep drill that was for steel. Oh, seriously, Red? Alright, Sea Panda, you're close by. Obviously, I don't want her to go around killing entities. So I want to stop her. Good night. And that's without the refugees to deal with. So we have the beds for the refugees. I think waiting as long as I'm able to wait so that the overlap with the 7 prisoner guards is as little as possible. Because if they overlap a lot, I'm gonna be screwed. Just with the amount of food and everything. So I know they're gonna overlap a little bit, but... And there's also the case of, so the other worry, one of the reasons not to overlap, now I'm thinking about it, is if indeed the mech cluster is going to come and arrive, I probably don't want the refugees arriving with a mech cluster on the map tile, because if the mech cluster is active, it poses an active threat to the refugees. So that's another thing that I hadn't really thought about until just now, which is like, it might actually not be safe to wait too long. I am not sure what to do about that. Maybe I'll take them on sooner then. I would have liked to have my own colonists be in a slightly better mood prior to doing anything like that, though. Some of it is just the shuttle crash that we honestly didn't ignore. We just failed to protect them because we were also dealing with the entire mech cluster. Well, that's good. So the fire maze is... the northern fire maze is at least usable, and it looks like a lot of the holes in our walls have been repaired. I can see now why the slate wall damage wasn't automatically set to replace, because it wasn't part of the home zone in the first place. So there are still some holes, but there is plenty of blocks over here that we cut from this mining task, and all we need to do is haul it out. Maybe micromanage it. I'm a little impatient now. I was letting them dole out the tasks as they see fit, but they haven't really repaired the important stuff yet. And here is the uranium deep drill. I don't actually have enough plasteel even for a protective door, though. But what I really want to do is I want to get the Devourers out of shared cells, because fighting multiple Devourers that are jailbreaking is icky. Icky is a technical term, of course. So Mikas needs to make at least one more Locust Armor after that one. New lovers, Skyra and Swanky. Alright. Let's have you guys switch bedrooms. This will be for Skyra and Swanky. I don't know why they like automatically pick the worst of the two. Also, why do I have heaters in here anymore? I'll just power those down. I think they're like just legacy, and I hadn't done anything about that. Our atmosphere heaters that keep the outside temperatures the correct temperature means that we don't really need inside heaters anymore. Not unless it's like a midwinter cold snap or something like that. No, I don't... Oh, boy. 643 for a Psylink and Warheads. No, I'm going to turn this... Well, it really depends on where they land. And I don't know where they're going to land. I'll have you guys decide. So, the disadvantage of the Psylink Neuroformer... Well, I guess Ink could take it. He'd be the really only logical recipient. So, yeah, I'll let you guys vote whether I should take it or not, and then if yes, you'll be able to vote on what reward. So the fire maze is almost all repaired. The holes to the walls are repaired. We actually have enough plasteel to make one security door. And hopefully we're getting enough plasteel for the second one. Even moving like 2 of the Devourers into their own secure facility would be immensely useful. And Exoticus traders coming in. Perfect. So other things that we're going to need in these cells will be bioferrite harvesters. The bioferrite harvesters do make the cells less secure, but the main point of taking the entities in the first place is the bioferrite that they provide, so we might as well get that in. One more minute to vote in this poll if you haven't voted already. The refugee quest has 2 days left on it. The Warden for Hire has 3 days left on it, so there will be a 1-day overlap. But I did say that I wanted to try to minimize the overlap, and that's still what I am doing. Ink, let's work drive Mikas so we can make corsets like crazy. And then Sea Panda, you were going to call in Orler, our ally, for a bulk good. And this time around, might as well call in the Royal Empire as well. Unfortunately, the Exoticus trader decided to hang out near our mining shack, which means whatever we buy from them is going to be really far away from our base. It's kind of annoying. So I am probably going to buy the plasteel just to speed things up. We already have 2 animal pulsers, probably don't need a 3rd. Wow. A bushy beard deathless gene. Manhunter Pulse is not particularly useful for this map tile, so we can ignore that. Part with the Thrumbo Horn, buy the Shock Lance. I can even... Well, alright, I'm not actually going to part with the gold, and here's the reason why. I am not certain that the Warden for Hire is going to work, so I don't want to sell gold thinking that I'm going to get a windfall of gold, because it's entirely possible that I still fail that quest somehow, and I don't want to sell my gold and then not have gold coming in, because that would be a big problem. You guys do want the waste. So now you guys can decide what reward. So here are the options. We have option number 1, which is mortar barrels and uranium. Option number 2, with his Deseret serum, and 3 is antigrain warhead. 2 of them. We don't have any sanguiphages. In fact, we revile sanguiphages. So it's really between uranium and mortar barrels or antigrain warheads. But you're still welcome to vote on 2 if you want. I don't care. I would have not included it if I cared. A combat supplier. Orbital. Wait, was that Stellaris? Yeah, Stellaris Travelers. Your 4X is leaking. See to that. What a paradox. Wow, there was a... Oh, you know what? There's actually one thing I did want to sell, which wasn't included in that list, which is the old marine helmets. So Sea Panda, move the orbital trade beacon, and then contact them again. Because we now have cataphract helmets, we don't need the old marine helmets. And the old marine helmets are going to sell for a pretty penny, I think. Yes. Many a pretty penny. Perfect. Glad I remembered. Alpaca join. Sorry, Alpaca. I have horses already. Plus, you guys look freakish without your fur. I don't want to shear you and have you look like an alien. Other things that I could do. Let's finish this bridge again. But for the first time in a long time, I will fireproof it a little bit. I'm tired of having to rebuild these bridges, like, seasonally. So I will put down a little bit of steel flooring so that it has a chance to not burn. And it looks like you are interested in reward number 3, the Warhead reward. Got it. Now my plan is to wait as long as I can for the Vagabonds And then once we admit the vagabonds, using the vagabonds to move the waste, because I'll potentially have it, let's say if there's 10 vagabonds, I'm going to say probably 8 of them will be able to haul. And that will help to move the waste faster. So I'm going to use the refugees as manual labor. So the next follow-up question is, who gets the neuroformer? Or the Psylink? And it's a binary poll. Ink or not ink. So the reason for ink is Ink's 2 Psylinks are not a result of royal privilege. He doesn't have any royal rank. So if I installed the Psylink in him, you know, he goes up to level 3, whereas Devil Eyes has a royal Psylink, meaning that if I install the Psylink into Devil Eyes, he goes up to 4, but if he ranks up, he doesn't go up to 5. He just stays at 4. The royal rank doesn't allow you, if you have Psylinks pre-installed and you then royal rank, you still have to climb up beyond your royal rank. Does that make sense? I might have explained it a little weird, but basically, if I put in Devil Eyes and he becomes a Baron, or whatever's next, I think it's a Baron, he doesn't benefit at all, which is why I wouldn't put it in Devil Eyes as a result. It's weird that, like, the uranium drill is unmanned, but then both plasteel drills up there are manned. Big old scratch in my head. But the good news is these cells have a secure strength of 260, up from 156. So they are going to keep the Devourers nice and copacetic. I love how my, like, little hauler bots can move a Devourer. I wonder, like, the weight of entities in game is a little wonky. I wonder how much these weigh. Body size 4. Actually, I think creature weight can only be found in the code. I think you actually have to go into the XML docs to figure out what they weigh. So never mind. Well, the other thing I'd like to do here is to run Hidden Conduit. Yeah, there we go. And don't study. It'd be actually interesting if the entity's breakout chance was affected by studying. Because if I was an entity, not that I am, that you know of, I would imagine that, like, studying them would piss them off more. I mean, they certainly wiggle more. And you guys want ink to get the silent. Copy that. Probably the next best thing for me to do is to activate the pit, which is on a 12-day cooldown. Oh, boy. Okay. So what we could try to do is to create a temporary holding shelter for the waste by roofing it up and maybe sticking some AC on it. So a single freezer, right, draws 200 watts, and a cooler uses two of them could go off of one unstable power cell. So we could move the 2 unstable power cells to have 4 coolers blasting to keep them cold. I could also turn off the atmo heaters, yeah. The thing is, if it lands in the water, that's a big problem because they rot much faster in water or when they're rained on. So if it lands where it did before, I'd be screwed. If it lands out here, I'd be fine. One of the reasons why, like, the landings of things is so weird on this map is there's just not a lot of space. Right, there's just not a lot of physical space for things to land. I could even work to fix that, which sounds crazy, but just, like, physically I could dig out some space so that, like, the mech clusters and pit gates and things like that have more physical space to land so that they don't necessarily prioritize in my walls. the more mountain I remove out here, the less likely are they to breach. So I think widening this area might actually be pretty useful to that end. If we have the labor. So there's a lot going on, huh? We are busy, busy bees. Did we use 100% of our plasteel? I think we did for the locust armor. Locust armor is expensive stuff. The temp trade beacon. So the waste is dropped not around trade beacons. It's just dropped. So it was dropped here, not because I had a beacon here, but just they just pick a spot. You know, the time before that, I had waste. Where was the other spot that dropped waste? I had it drop around here, maybe? I forget exactly. Animal starvation. Yeah, I was supposed to kill you already. Swanky, you see to that. The speed at which the atmo heaters, when turned off, like drops the temperature of the map is very fast. So if it does benefit me to use the atmospheric temperatures, I'll do that. It was in the swamp to the north? No, the one before that. Do you recall? Maybe it does land near the beacons. I never thought it did. But shall I test that theory? And try to force the waste to land around, let's say, here? I'll do it. For science. I'll even get it powered. Oh, Skyra's already moving it. Perfect. Yeah, let's get this powered. Okay. So now that that's installed, I'm just going to move all my beacons. One, two, three. I think that's all of them. Yeah, I just have 4 total. Okay. And we're finally cleaning up all the mech stuff, which is great. Alright, all of the other beacons have been moved. So the oldest installed beacon is this beacon. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it isn't random. I always sort of assumed it's random. I know that like a retaliatory pollution drop is not a spot of your choosing. But quest beacons might play by different rules. In fact, it would make sense if they did. Okay, cool. This cell is ready to go. And let's make the other cells. So the base is a little vulnerable with a pod drop raid target being here, but it maybe will make the waste drop easier to deal with. We'll see. And I have 16 hours to accept the refugees. No, don't study it. I wish it was just maintenance only by default. That would make my life a lot easier. Although for like half of all players, they would probably feel the opposite. They'd be like, oh god, I wish it was the other way. Never be happy, right? Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Anomaly Eldritch Guards, which originally streamed live on Twitch July 21st. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow guardsmen.